Happy Tuesday, everybody. Kamar Ellis here. Welcome to the Finance Rebel Show. This is another special edition, right? We're going to be talking about stimulus today. That second round of stimulus that was due to be voted on really soon by the president. But not sure if that's going to happen now. But wanted to talk about it a little bit, right? Because the Finance Rebel Show is all about helping people enhance their financial IQ. And I tell people all the time that part of enhancing your financial IQ is also enhancing your political IQ as well. Because money, politics, you can't separate them. You know, I tell people all the time, money and wealth is inextricably linked, meaning they can't be separated. So a lot of times people don't like that, but today is a great example of how that plays out. So I wanted to talk about it. So I don't know if many of y'all chimed in or tuned in the other night when I kind of did my first initial stimulus review. And during that stimulus review, you know, I told you I usually don't like to go over the stimulus packages because there's always something going on in the background. There's always something going on last minute. And you always wonder, like, is this going to be final? Well, I kind of went against my own intuition. And I swear every time I go against my own intuition, it always comes out bad. So that's a warning for y'all. Y'all can learn from me. Start trusting y'all intuition. But at any rate, I started to go over it, right? Congress and Senate finally voted on the bill. They got it together. It's actually like 5,500 plus pages long. I wasn't reading that, but I read over some of it, and then I got kind of this abbreviated version that's about 29 pages, and I've read like so many other things that we're talking about stimulus getting different interpretations and everything like that. And then at the last minute, the guy who was in the White House, who has orange hair, who thinks he's Hitler's second coming, says that he doesn't like the stimulus package. How ironic, how convenient. He says he doesn't like the stimulus package because it has a lot of fat. All right, so one word of today, or one phrase of today, is going to be called pork barrel politics. Okay, pork barrel politics. I'm going to put that on the screen for everybody. And for all of you who can't watch the screen, I'm going to do my very best to describe it so everybody can understand what pork barrel politics is. Now, pork barrel politics is nothing new. Pork barrel politics has been around since all time, right? Politicians do it all the time. But I figured, hey, maybe this is a teachable moment, right? So again, pork barrel politics. What is pork barrel politics by Investopedia? Pork barrel politics is a legislator's practice of slipping funding for a local project into a budget. The project may have nothing to do with the bill and may benefit only the legislator's home district, right? Before all bills go to a vote, pork barreling, that's what I said, has often greatly inflated its cost through the addition of various legislators' pet projects. In modern politics, pork barreling and earmarking have become virtually synonymous to be fair. One politician's pork barrel politics is another constituent service. So they're basically saying that one politician doing something for his district, trying to bring something home for his district, is good politics. It's good business in that world. And so Trump came out today, did his little two-step, did his little speech, and he talked about all the pork barrel. Now, technically, some of the things in this bill wouldn't be technically pork barrel in the way that it was just described in that definition. All right. But it's still kind of pork barrel because it's leading towards someone's interest, some politician's interest. And so that's why I would still label this all pork barreling. So that is the term of the day. But I have another term of the day. Because no good deed goes unrewarded. So I want to pull up this term as well. And I want everybody to be aware of this. And listen, these are all my thoughts. These are my opinions. But I'm going to share this because I think it's relevant. I think it's very relevant. And we have to be able to look at things not just in a linear black and white contextual phrase or or view or vantage point, we have to be able to look at things across the spectrum. All right. So again, I always tell folks politics, wealth creation, money are not inseparable. They're all one and the same. They all kind of go in the same line. All right. And so what happened today, in my opinion, is really bad. Really bad. Now, a lot of people are already jumping on the bandwagon and they're saying that, yeah, it's bad. There's this pork barrel spending going on, that there's so much money being earmarked to these foreign nations and foreign countries like Egypt, and there's Japanese koi fish and things like that. But I'll say this before I bring up the next term of the day. All of that stuff has been happening. All of that stuff has been happening under this administration, under every presidential administration. This is nothing new. So I find it quite ironic that all of a sudden now we want to turn into goody two shoes. I mean, how convenient is it? All right. So the other phrase of today is manipulator. Now, I don't know if everybody can see that. Let me try to blow that up. Because I know words are important. And sometimes I don't think we are stringent enough on words. So what is a manipulator? A person who controls or influences others in a clever or unscrupulous way. A person who handles or controls something skillfully. And I don't like dude, right? For the record. But I would be lying if I said he is not very skillful at directing and crafting narratives in the media. I would be lying. He does that very skillfully. I would say he's masterful at it. I don't like saying that, but I also like telling the truth. And that's what I see as the truth. But he's also a manipulator, right? And he manipulates not just for the good of the people, but for the good of himself. So again, like I said, I started to read a bit of the bill here for stimulus. I planned on talking about it tonight. And like I said, and I planned on talking about it, and I started talking about it in advancement of Senate and House of Reps signing the bill. I started talking about it in advance of the president signing the bill. Now, the House of Representatives have signed the bill, and the Senate have signed the bill, and they send it over to the president, over to the executive branch. And so he decides not to sign the bill, and now he is threatening to veto the bill. Well, I find it ironic that one of the things he wants is a $2,000 payment to families and taxpayers. And the payment was going to be $600 originally. That's what the Democrats in the Senate, the Democrats and Republicans have both agreed upon from the House and the Senate. Both of them, both parties. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and say if I like it, whether I like it or not, really isn't of any consequence. I think it should be more. I think government can do more, but that's not what they agreed upon. And by the way, the day is December 22nd. They are about to go out of session. Now, they can be called back for an emergency session, but I'm giving you all this context and all this background just to kind of frame the conversation, to be able to think about it in its proper context, right? In its proper context. So I find it, again, ironic. I find it ironic of the timing. Now, I just want to say this. One name for right now. Papadopoulos got pardoned today, along with 19 other people. So just simmer on that for a minute. All right, just simmer on that for a minute. So I'm going to go for it, and I want to look at something, because he said again that Republicans and the Democrats have been working on this bill for quite some time. And then he also went on to say that the Democrats had waylaid this, and they didn't want any parts of this, and they basically tried to destroy this. Find that interesting, because that's not the way I see it, but I don't know how the rest of you all see it. But I want to show you something, right? Because he's acting like this $2,000 is his idea. Cool. It's his idea. It can be his idea, but I just like the facts, right? So after this, right, we have this mass destruction. Now the progressives, the Democrats, signal support for Trump's $2,000 stimulus check requests, echoing past demands. Key term then, echoing past demands. And then today again, he tried to destroy the Democrats. Now, for the record, y'all, when it comes to politics, I am a fan of Malcolm X's Ballad of the Bullet. I don't care about parties. However, you would have to be blind to say that the Republican parties care about my community, the Black community, nor the rest of the American people. So I voted for Biden and have no problem with that, because this guy, the orange-headed Hitler impersonator, is always doing something shady, always, right? So again, he got up there, did his press conference, and said that he's come up with this $2,000 stimulus check and dogged the Democrats. But it says here that AOC, or Andrea Costa, I always say her name wrong, Andrea Costa, and Bernie Sanders have been pushing for this $2,000 stimulus bill back in the spring, when the first stimulus plan went over, and when the first stimulus plan got passed and voted on by the House of Reps and the Senate. Interesting. And guess who else signed it? He signed it. They wanted it back then. He didn't want to give it. They didn't want to give it. They being the Republicans. But now all of a sudden that he's lost the election, he wants to now insert $2,000 into this. I can see him saying he wanted to get rid of the pork spending. I get it. It's not a good look. But I do find it ironic for this guy who really hasn't been doing a whole lot of work since he lost November 3rd. And today he comes out and he pardons 19 people, Papadopoulos being one. Papadopoulos being one of the people who admitted that he lied about having Russian contacts. Oh, and by the way, 2 of the people he pardoned are Russians. Go figure. Things that make you go, So I find it really ironic that he's now taking this position, but all the while, people's money are on the line, right? So sometimes, I say things and I had these conversations and people just look at me crazy, like, Amari, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, I have never worked in politics, like officially as a treasurer for campaigns, for several of them. Like, I've never volunteered in campaigns. So, and not just volunteering as the guy to go get coffee. By the way, those people are awesome. Everybody needs a good cup of coffee. But I'm actually in the room and I'm making decisions and I'm seeing where the money's going and I see how the process goes. Now, never worked at the federal level, so I'm not trying to sit here and be pretentious or anything like that. But it just amazes me how many people want to take and say that politics doesn't matter. But here we are. We have, I forget how many people's unemployment. I want to say it's 12 million. I believe it's 12 million people's unemployment will expire as of the day after Christmas or something like that. And here we are, we're playing petty politics for 3 days before Christmas. And listen, it's pretty late at night. So you might as well say 2 days before Christmas, because the work day is damn near here. It's only a couple hours away. But this is what we want to do. So again, I find it very interesting that he's going on and he's espousing all these things and he's saying all these things. And now he's coming back and he's saying he might veto this bill. So it kind of proves my intuition, right? When I said that I usually don't like to read these things because anything can happen. I usually don't like to research these things because anything can happen. And one of the things I found funny when he went on and he did his press conference talking about none of the people in Congress have read the bill, like he's read the bill, right? So this is where the manipulation comes in. This is where the BS comes in. I mean, it's well known that he never read his briefs, his daily briefs, right? It's been well known that he hasn't been doing the transition process with the Biden administration or the future Biden administration, so we can have a coordinated facility and coordinated, what's the word I'm looking for, y'all? A coordinated transition and succession to make sure there's no gaps with the American people, so they're taken care of. COVID's still spiking. I just heard of 2 people today that I know personally or have known that died of COVID today. Like, COVID's not going anywhere and it's not getting any better. Yeah, the vaccine's here, but it's not getting any better. So again, they're playing petty politics at the last minute. And I think that's terrible. People need that $600. Would $2,000 be better? Absolutely. But he don't care about the $2,000. That's the thing. He doesn't care at all about the $2,000. He cares about causing mass hysteria at the last final hour. And again, who's at risk? The American people. People like you and I, people that are watching this live broadcast right now, people that are listening to this podcast right now or on the replay. We have to really start thinking about those things when it's time for us to vote. Politics matters, y'all. Like it really matters. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if this bill doesn't get passed. Is there a possibility it will get passed? Absolutely. Right. I'm not going to rule out anything, but now you have the Republicans with their backs up. Now you have the progressive Democrats that have their backs up. Everybody wants what they want. They already came to an agreement, but now there's total confusion. So now all this total confusion has been created when this man just pardoned 20 criminals, including one of the guys was a murderer or is a murderer. I mean, can you ever, once you are a murderer, do you stop being a murderer? Like, I don't know. But all of these folks, all done it the same day, all on his way out. People that admitted that they were criminals and crooks. Many people that have kind of admitted or been linked to creating election fraud on the side of the Russian government. I mean, I don't know. And we just got hacked. The United States just got hacked not too long ago. And nobody knew about it for a long time. So again, I want y'all all to be, if you had to take away one thing, right? Keep your eye on what's going on politically, because you never know what's going to come down the pike. Number two, never rely on getting money from the government, whether it's a tax refund or whatever it is, until you get it. Because I know some people, I've even guilty of making jokes about this, that people are going to be stunting once they get this $600. They're going to have a good old time. But I also know that there are a lot of people who actually need that money to pay the bills, even though there's moratoriums going on for utilities and rent and things like that. People still have to buy food. People still have to get back and forth to work. You know, people are really in a destitute situation. We still have over 20 million people who are unemployed. I mean, so again, getting this money out to the American people, I think, is very important. There's another thing in this bill as well, that the extension for unemployment benefits, right? There was going to be an extra $300 from the federal unemployment enhancement. That is now going to be delayed as well. So it could be very possible that, let's say that this bill gets passed over the next couple of days. Let's say it gets passed on Christmas. The states may not still be able to get ramped up to get this money out. Now, sure, like I said, it will be great to get the $2,000, but he's not really serious about that. He doesn't really have real intentions to give the American people $2,000. His intentions are, again, to create mass hysteria. And by the way, when he said at the end of his thing, he said, well, maybe the next administration will have to handle this, or maybe my administration will have to handle this. All the while kind of giving his dog whistle to his base, his supporters, people who, well, I won't do that because I don't want to be mean. I'll say this though. The people who work and vote and gets their own interests. I don't see how anybody could work or vote for this man and feel that it's in their own interest when he is so reckless, especially with the way he handled COVID, especially in the way that he lies. I mean, he's so reckless about things when it relates to his own misdoings, when it's not in his own benefit. He don't care. He just steamrolls issues. So again, if you haven't been following politics, unsure about politics, we are still going to be at hold for the stimulus plan to come out, which means we're going to be on hold to get money to the American people. So again, politics and money, you can't separate them. They are forever linked. Why? Because people will always be trying to get things for their own personal interests and make their own pockets fat. Like, never forget that. There's very few truly altruistic people in this world. Very few. So again, I don't want to belabor this too long. I was going to show some more clips and talk about it, but I've already seen I'm almost at the 20-minute mark. And again, I don't want to keep you all. But again, I'll just say stimulus is still on hold. So this is the update for, stimulus round 2. Once the bill passes, I'll come back. I'll give my update. I'll give you what my thoughts are, what my concerns are. and the best ways to kind of think about this and position this. But again, I appreciate you all watching. Appreciate you all listening. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Only Wealthy Wednesdays. I'll be here at 8 p.m. Whatever money questions you have, get them together and send them on over to me. But I'll see you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. Have a great day, everybody, or a great night, everybody. Bye-bye.